Okay, this is warning 616. I know that perhaps you've already heard about the fact that some Japanese floats and debris are being reported on the west coast. I don't have sophisticated software, but I want to make this a little bit more personal and to actually point out who it's going to impact. This is today's paper. Picked it up in Port Angeles today. Lonnie Archibald of Beaver shows a Japanese float that he found out on the mouth of the Quileute River. Pictures we're looking at here are of Neah Bay, the Makah home. More Japanese floats tallied on West End. Now that beachcombers know what they are seeing, coastal residents have reported finding several pieces of suspected Japan tsunami debris on Clallam County beaches. A large black float found 2 weeks ago on a beach east of Neah Bay, that's Neah Bay there, was most likely the first piece of identifiable wreckage that had washed up on west coast beaches from the massive magnitude 9.0 earthquake and resultant tsunami in Japan on March 11th, researchers said this week. Seattle oceanographers Curtis Ebesmeyer and Jim Ingraham announced that during a lecture Tuesday night at the Peninsula College campus in Port Angeles. Since the Neah Bay discovery, the two wind and water current researchers known as Drift Busters Inc. said the black 55-gallon drum-sized floats also have been discovered on Vancouver Island. And as an aside, having said that, yes, it's being reported on CBC as well. After a report on the lecture in the Peninsula Daily News on Thursday, others on the West End realized they had found similar floats, but had not known what they were. The floats were the topic of much discussion among Makah tribal members and other residents of Neah Bay on Thursday, said Janine Beauchamp, director of the Makah Cultural and Research Center. About a quarter of the 100 million tons of debris from Japan is expected to begin to make landfall on Pacific coastlines in a year, Ebesmeyer said. Okay, let's just take a moment and think about that, because very clearly it's already here. And the people who are going to be affected are most specifically the villagers in La Push, Quileute people, the Makah and Neah Bay, the Elwha, many other Washington coastal peoples, and many villagers in southeast Alaska, and of course all along the BC coast, Vancouver Island coast, and all of us here in Washington in general. Continuing to read, this is actually the harbor in Neah Bay, a place where the people have long made their living from the sea, as you see here. Here they have a canoe, but they are commercial fishermen and crabbers. Continuing with the article, most of the debris is still in the midst of the Pacific, but some lighter, wind-blown flotsam travels faster. Neah Bay is located on a cape at the northwestern tip of the continental U.S., at a point where two major east-flowing currents split, one north to Alaska and another south toward California. It is a dropping-off point. Well, there you go. There's the map, and Neah Bay is indicated at the arrow. It's a dropping-off point for flotsam caught in these currents, the researchers said. Debris snagged by currents leading into the Strait of Juan de Fuca will eventually wash up on beaches from the mouth of the Elwha River to Port Townsend. La Push. Beaches around La Push, which is 30 miles south of Neah Bay on the Pacific coast, are also likely to accumulate tsunami debris. Two floats similar to the one identified Tuesday as part of the tsunami debris were found on Rialto Beach near the mouth of the Quileute River, and that's at La Push, about a week before Thanksgiving, said Beaver resident Lonnie Archibald, who also is a freelance photographer, often published in the PDN and the Forks Forum. And I showed you the picture of Mr. Archibald holding a float, probably a radioactive float, that he had found. Quileute chairwoman Bonita Cleveland said Thursday that the tribe, which lives in a reservation largely within a tsunami zone, is sending prayers to the Japanese. She said, "We have a special kinship with our brothers and sisters across the sea and lift our hands to their amazing resilience, courage, and strength during these latest developments." The Quileute Tribal Emergency Management Team is discussing procedures for handling items found around the La Push area and has contacted the State Department of Ecology for information about how any potentially hazardous materials should be handled, said Jackie Jacobs, spokeswoman for the tribe. "We are asking that community members and visitors please contact law enforcement or the local Coast Guard if they find anything that may have possibly traveled to our shores as a result of the Japanese tsunami. Eventually, large rafts of debris containing anything from boats to mementos to even human body parts could wash up on western shores," Ebbesmeyer said. Here I'm showing you some stills from the gathering of the canoes, which involved about at least 30 different tribes and bands from the Salish Sea coastal waters, all of whom will be affected by the debris washing up their homes. To continue with the article, people should also be aware of the possibility of radiation contamination from the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, Ebbesmeyer said. A video of Tuesday's presentation by Ebbesmeyer and Ingram at Peninsula College is available at http://tinyurl.com/6n7x3kl. So thanks very much for watching and listening. I wanted to bring this home and to show you again some of the people who are going to be most affected by the accumulation of the radioactive debris along the Washington coast, of course the coast of British Columbia, and southeastern Alaskan waters in particular. And of course this is going to be affecting all of the fishing grounds, all of the indigenous people and other commercial fisher people who make their living from the sea, and all of us. So as Dutch says, hang in there, folks. God bless you all, and send your prayers. Those of you on the coast, be really thinking and meditating about what you might want to do now. And be sure and send lots of love to your loved ones this holiday season. Namaste.